Welcome to Empire of Faith and Reason. I'm Daniel de Salamanca. Today we're going to see how the School of Salamanca influenced what Spain did in America, using ideas from the Bible like justice, faith, and loving your neighbor. This was a legacy that changed world history forever, and it led to the first globalization. The Hispanic monarchy was never an absolute monarchy, not like some folks believe. Thanks to the influence of the scholastics first, and then the ideas of the School of Salamanca. In the fuero juzgo in the 7th century, a common standard of justice was established for both Visigoths and Hispano-Romans, treating men and women the same, and the great as well as the small. We, who are worth as much as you, and together are more powerful than you, make you our king and lord, provided that you uphold our rights and freedoms. And if you don't, then you ain't. They said at the beginning of the 12th century in the Leonese parliament, and there they also added the famous idea of Saint Isidore of Seville. Rex eris si recte facias, si non facias, non eris Saint Isidore of Seville. Crown of Aragon, Leonese Parliament, 1118, which means, you will be king if you do what is right. If you do not do what is right, you will not be king. Furthermore, its Magna Carta enshrined fundamental rights, such as the inviolability of property, the inviolability of the home, peace in the home, and the right to a fair trial by a lawyer assistance, as guarantees of the people against the abuse of authority. These timeless rights sound modern even today, and were already established in the history of the Spanish crown. So I dare say that Spain had the first modern rule of law, long before the English, the French, or any of its European neighbors. So, while big steps forward in laws were making it easier for people to start new ventures, new discoveries in different sciences like astronomy were a really big help for sailing. This put Spain in a super special and unbeatable spot to set off on the huge mission of discovering the new world. And it also meant that its neighbors, who weren't as advanced at the time, couldn't even come close to dreaming about pulling it off themselves. And here's the proof from history. All the other kings and queens back then said no to Columbus, because his big plan sounded too wild, like something that couldn't really happen. But Isabella and Ferdinand, the Catholic king and queen of Spain, they knew how to grab the opportunity. Francisco Vitoria says that all people have rights, and all people are equal, no matter where they come from or what their race is. This is different from how the Greeks and Romans used to separate people into free men and slaves, which was very common in the non-Hispanic world until not too long ago. So, it's not surprising that King Charles I of Spain ordered a temporary stop to the conquests in America, because people were getting more and more worried about how the native people were being treated. King Charles I was really influenced by the ideas from the School of Salamanca, especially from Francisco de Vitoria, and by Bartolomé de las Casas, who spoke out about how badly the native people were being treated. So, Charles I called for the Valladolid debate in 1550 to 1551. This debate was between Las Casas, who stood up for the rights of the native people, saying they were free people made in God's image, like it says in Genesis 1:27, and Juan Gines de Sepulveda, who said the conquest was okay because he thought the native people were not as good. Charles I wondered if it was morally right to keep expanding in America. And even though the conquests did continue later on, this whole thing led to changes like the new laws of 1542. These laws were meant to protect the native people and stop the Spanish bosses from treating them badly. The School of Salamanca, which really focused on natural rights and fairness, was super important in getting the crown to think about what was right and wrong. These ideas from the School of Salamanca were put into practice in Spanish America by creating missions to peacefully share their faith and to love others. John 13, verse 34. "32 universities were built for everyone, rich or poor, native people or not. Just between 1500 and 1550, more than 25 big hospitals were built. The laws of the Indies were based on natural law. They protected the native people with roles like the protector of Indians, and helped them become part of society as Christians who could govern themselves. This made them just as Spanish as people born in Spain. Not only were they not forced to speak Spanish, but Spanish missionaries even wrote books about native languages. They learned these languages to share their faith. Lots of churches and cathedrals were also built. A special one was the Metropolitan Cathedral in Mexico City. King Philip II ordered it to be built, and it took almost 300 years to finish. With all this information, you might wonder if the Spanish Empire really conquered people. Well, not in the same way as the English or French empires. Instead, it was an empire that brought people together, following the example of Rome, and was very much shaped by the School of Salamanca and the Catholic faith. As the Mexican historian Juan Miguel Zunzunegui would say, the heart of the Spanish Empire was never Madrid, it was Mexico City. Friends, welcome to this sunrise at our beautiful Viceregal Cathedral. The Spanish Empire and the School of Salamanca left us an incredible legacy. They taught us that faith and justice can change the world. That's what I call bringing his kingdom to us. The Hispanic heritage still lives on today. It reminds us of the importance of faith and reason in our lives. So, what do you think? Leave a comment below. Subscribe and share to keep exploring our Hispanic heritage. Together, we'll keep discovering our faith and reason. Until next time, friends, God bless you.